out of the sky and into the sea. A UFO captured entering the water in front of hundreds of beachgoers.
Could aliens actually be amongst us, hiding out, as it were, in the deepest recesses of the oceans?
Neil Armstrong's bizarre jungle quest for an ancient alien library.
Did something happen on the lunar surface to inspire this mission?
It's been reported that Armstrong and Aldrin saw lights on the edge of the crater.
And NASA's nightmare. A genius rocket scientist seems to open a gate to another world.
Did Parsons really succeed in getting the attention of other dimensional beings?
UFOs, once the stuff of fantasy, now caught on camera, finally forcing governments to reveal what they know.
UAPs are unexplained, but they are real.
Many of these phenomena have been sighted in training ranges. We're very much concerned about safety of flight.
So let's just speculate for one moment that these things, whatever they are here to do not very good things.
Impossible engineering, terrifying encounters, sinister cover-ups. This is evidence of the unexplained. May 2021. It's a calm, almost windless day on Jangkar Beach in East Indonesia, when something huge appears in the sky, startling hundreds of beachgoers.
This is a weird-looking object.
If there is no wind, it's traveling under its own propulsion.
What this black mob then seems to do is descends towards the water and then just vanishes into the ocean.
There is no sound and no sign of heavy impact. The object appears to simply glide into the water without losing any speed. Objects that can move from the air and then through the water at the same speed have been tracked by military equipment in the past.
In 2019, a leaked U.S. Navy video from the USS Omaha seems to show a mysterious craft hovering before it disappears into the ocean off the coast of San Diego in California. The object was apparently trapped as it dived from a very, very high altitude, 100,000 feet. Now, it was still traveling at a very, very high speed as it entered the water.
What was that? Splash. We got a splash.
There were claims that it was tracked traveling at about 300 knots underwater. That's about 345 miles an hour. That's 10 times faster than the Royal Navy's nuclear-powered subs. The US Navy actually sent a submarine to the area to investigate, but they can't find any trace of any object.
It was as if it had vanished into thin air.
Objects like this one, filmed in 2019, and the one witnessed on Jangkar Beach, seem to have what the Pentagon describes as transmedium capabilities.
Transmediumness is the ability to travel through air and water without loss of performance or capability. Normally when you travel, let's say, from air to water, you will experience some form of resistance. Effectively, the water will slow you down. Even light itself is slowed down when it travels through water.
Water is just under 800 times thicker than air. So to move through it, you need enormous amounts of fuel and power.
The next time you're out in your F-16 fighter jet, just try flying that underwater. You know, it's going to break up the moment you hit the ocean surface.
In 2004, of course, we have the world-famous Nimitz incident. US Navy pilots spot what seems to be a tic-tac-shaped object hovering above a disturbance in the water.
The disturbance is described as being caused by a large, cross-shaped object just beneath the surface.
In that same instant, a radar operator on the nearby ship, the USS Princeton, confirmed that a craft was actually in the water, moving faster than 70 knots.
Military analysts have come to call these things unidentified submerged objects, or USOs.
A USO is described very much like a UFO. These are objects that are performing in a way that we frankly can't replicate, and they're doing it underwater.
One of the first modern-day sightings of a USO was by Japanese fishermen in 1957. Since then, USOs have been clocked numerous times, often moving at incredible speeds.
Some of these objects have been clocked at the speed of sound, underwater. That's way beyond our tech.
The former head of the French Secret Service claimed that they had picked up one of these objects traveling underwater at faster than the speed of sound.
The speed of sound in water is over 3,000 miles per hour.
We're seeing a vehicle that can operate very, very fast underwater, in instantaneous acceleration, potentially hypersonic velocities.
It does make you wonder, how can this be achieved?
If this craft was real, it could circumnavigate the entire globe underwater in just 8 hours. The world's superpowers spend hundreds of billions annually on black projects, funding secret, highly advanced aircraft. It's not a stretch to believe they're funding secret underwater technology too.
There have been rumors, though, that both the US and China are developing new supersonic submarines using a technology called supercavitation. This is where a submerged vessel effectively travels inside an air bubble, eliminating the water drag.
Bubbles, by definition, experience far less resistance in water than the object itself. So if you can create the bubbles, let's say at the nose of the object, so that the bubbles then surround the object, then that object should be able to move faster.
The reports of US pilot witnesses indicate that these craft have no obvious means for propulsion.
If you have a jet sucking in air through its engines and pushing it out the back, or even a submarine propeller pushing against the water, that is an obvious form of propulsion.
Some theorize that these craft are somehow manipulating the gravity fields to move. If that's true, it doesn't matter in what medium they travel in. Air, water, it's all the same.
Even if there was a top-secret program that had developed supersonic submarines, you have to remember the transmedium qualities of these USOs, their ability to both fly and travel through water.
Our oceans cover 70% of the entire surface of the Earth, and 80% of these waters have never been scanned, explored, or seen by human eyes.
To put that in context, we know more about the surface of the Moon or Mars.
It is likely to mean there are things we don't know about that live in the ocean.
The Greek philosopher Plato told of an ancient civilization called Atlantis that now lies beneath the ocean. Later, scholars and archaeologists theorized the story could be a memory of a society that inhabited, or perhaps still inhabits, an undersea realm.
Maybe we're cohabitating with something else on this planet. Maybe we're dealing with something that's even far older than our own species. Is that possible?
Gary Hesseltine, a former police officer and now the vice president of the International Coalition for Extraterrestrial Research, believes that there are underwater alien bases hidden in our deepest oceans and trenches.
In May 2022, there was a congressional hearing into UAPs, the first such hearing for 50 years. Now, Representative Raja Krishnamurthy asked the entirely legitimate question:
do we have any sensors underwater to detect on submerged UAPs, anything that is in the ocean or in the seas?
In response, the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security made a rather terse comment.
So I think that would be more appropriately addressed in closed session.
Okay.
He wasn't going to answer that question in the public glare with the cameras rolling. So what exactly does he have to hide?